I'd like to call the order of the Parks Board meeting of Monday, August the 30th. Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. Bowler, will you help us out on that?
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, do it. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. I want to go on record as saying I want to ask Mr. Bennett to sing the national anthem.
Thank you.
On the next meeting.
Cost you a little money for that. That's okay.
Mr. Bruce, any citizen comments, sir?
No, sir. No, Mr. Chairman. None
Thank you.
tonight.
I'll accept a motion to approve the minutes. Mr. Pike first, Mr. Bennett second. Any discussion of the last meeting? All in favor say aye. All opposed? No. That's good. All right. Moving. First off, before we do this, I need a motion. We have RTB grant, Friends of Indian Lake Community Development Partners added to the agenda. I need a motion to add that. Mr. Pike first, Mr. White second. Any discussion on that? I didn't think so. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And that's good. All right. Well then, let's see. Parks project updates. Mr. Gilly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The inline hockey project is going well. You should see a lot of progress if you go out there at this point. It's on track to be open by late November, early December, and we hope to have our first large event there in early December. So it's going well so far. Been very few issues, and the staff and Jesse, our COO, has been working together with both groups, with Los and Olympian, and it's going to be a great project. We'll be starting soon. You'll see some renovations to the lights at the Memorial Park fountain. That's going to be a nice upgrade, and hopefully some more upgrades to that fountain later. And then we have several grant applications that you'll be hearing about. One of them tonight with the RTP grant for recreational trails grant at the Beatty Farm. But you'll hear about that here in a few minutes. And that is my report for now. If anybody has any questions about things going on, I can answer them.
Question? Thank you, Mr. Gilly. Bass Pro Shop alcohol site mount parachute jump approval. I'm not doing that. Who wants to speak to that?
We got with us on the video, I think, members of the Bass Pro Shop event team. If we can get them pulled up. This is kind of a first-time trial run at this. I'll let them kind of identify themselves, but what we're asking, this event has already been approved for September 10th and 11th at Sanders Ferry Park, but when we approved it, we didn't know for sure quite some of the aspects of it, and we told you we'd come back to you with those plans. In your packet, there is a site map that shows where all the security and alcohol would be vended, as well as all the permits and authorization, and I believe a place where you would see where a parachute would land, a parachuter would land. But I'll let these people from Bass Pro Shops speak to you about that, if y'all can hear us.
Hey guys, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name's Sarah. I'm with the production company that's producing the event out here. We're a national company out of Miami. We do this all over the U.S., and Bass Pro is a great partner of ours. Obviously, because the nature of the patriotic nature of the date, something that the client requested was to have, we have like an ROTC thing with a flag presentation, and they wanted to have a parachute jump as well. We have a professional company on board that is, being cleared with, I forget the name of it, but whoever's in charge of the airspace out there.
The FAA.
Correct. So they're being cleared with the FAA. We have all the plans in place in terms of how the size of their jump space, how it needs to be cleared, and all the regulations there, which should have been sent over to you all already. But it's just part of like the patriotic show that happens along with the declaration, the flag presentation, and all the other kind of patriotic things that are happening there.
Give everybody a minute to look over that.
Do you want to talk to them about the alcohol portion of the event while you're at it? Because they can probably make it one motion to do both instead of two separate.
Yeah, sorry, I apologize. Yeah, we can
The
go over that
suspense
as
was
well.
killing me there.
So obviously, this is, a family event. It has a festival component to it. We have contracted a local catering company that seems to be very well respected in the area called Aero Bar that has all the appropriate licenses and insurances. They are going to be the ones providing within a secure perimeter, providing one bar, providing beer, wine, and alcohol service with cocktails. So they have sent over all of their licensing and insurance needs already. But that's the company that was recommended to us that has the best reputation in the area that we've contracted for this.
Mr. Gilly, do you see any of your staff see any problems on this, sir?
I think they've done a tremendous job laying everything out clearly for everybody to see and followed all the permits and rules and regulations. They will be going before the beer board on Thursday night. So if you approve this, your motion probably needs to say approved based on the beer board approval happening Thursday night. The Parks Board obviously has to approve anything that's aerial, like the parachute. That's why that's here. That's in the ordinance of the city that the Parks Board would have to approve that. But they've been fabulous to work with, and I can't really tell you all the things that are going to be going on. I'm not even sure these two on the call know can tell you all the things that are going to be going on.
If anyone wants to know anything, ask me outside.
But no, they can tell you all the things going on, but it's going to be a major event for our city. I would say every hotel room in the city is going to be booked up, and there's going to be some big-time people out at the park on Friday and Saturday for this event. So that's about all I have.
Yeah, that's correct. Thank you for that introduction. We have, a country music concert, which is free and open to the public on Friday night. And then Saturday, we have 500 anglers coming out for a fishing tournament. And in addition to the tournament, it's kind of a very family-friendly, kind of fun festival environment. A lot of kids' activations, food trucks, and just kind of cool things to do for families to come out. If you guys take a look at all the documents that have been provided, we also have our security dot plan on there, which is pretty heavy, just to make sure that, all the rules and regulations are being followed. We also have a parking plan on there. Any questions you guys have, I'm here to answer them.
Okay. I want to allow a little discussion here before I'll accept the motion amongst yourself if you'd like.
Mr. Gilly, do we have a good grasp on numbers for the concert? So nothing's gonna surprise us, overwhelm us.
The concert, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, the concert on Friday I think they're inviting veterans and all the participants in the event and their families. That necessarily won't be a huge crowd on Friday night, so I think we've got that under control, unless they know something I don't.
No, that's correct. A big part of this is to honor veterans. So we have a big tent area where we have a big dinner planned for 100 veterans to honor them, and that's a big part of it. We also have the captain's meeting on site that day. Again, this isn't, heavily marketed, and it's not ticketed. So it's really for the community, but particularly to honor veterans and people that have, worked hard for our country.
Mr. Pike, do you have questions?
I know we're a little bit of ways, but have we talked about with Mr. Gilly and how the traffic will flow coming out of that park after this event each night?
They've contracted out with a parking company to help take care of all that. We're in good shape.
I personally think that the motion ought to involve refraining the people from jumping out of good airplanes from drinking the liquor, but that's okay. All right, I will accept a motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve,
Okay, Mr. Frank.
Oh.
Mr. Frank did, but
nope, that's, I'd be happy.
it was a tie. It was a tie. Go ahead, Mr. Bowling.
So I move to approve, approve this event pending beer board approval at the next meeting on Thursday.
Second was Mr. Frank. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Nobody. Good job by you. Thank you, ma'am. Sir.
Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.
I love it. All right. Spencer Bristol Tournament, Mr. Staff. Approval of the fireworks and beer garden. I didn't know you could grow beer in the garden. Approval of fireworks and beer garden, sir.
Yes, I will speak to that, Mr. Chairman. We didn't want to ask the fire and police department, really heavily the police department that runs this tournament. I didn't want to ask the guys to come out an extra night tonight. So on page 13 of your packet, what they are adding fireworks to the end of this night. This event is also on September 11th. So you can go fish during the day and play fireworks and play softball and watch fireworks at night. But you all have to approve the addition of fireworks to this event. The site plan, the location is the exact same location as the Freedom Festival fireworks. There will not be as big a crowd there as we have for the Freedom Festival, but we have everything in place. They've taken care of all the permits, and they have hired the same company that does our Freedom Festival fireworks to do this show. So if anybody has any questions about the fireworks aspect, I believe they're going to be set to go off at 8 o'clock on September 11th. And then on page, the next page, page 14 of your packet, they are would like to add a beer garden to the event, which will be held, as you can see in that red circle area. That's where it would be sold. That is in the main quad, fields 1, 2, 3, and 4. They would have security and officers at the 3 entrances and exits where you can get in and out of that quad, where it will not leave the quad area. Obviously, with the police department running the event, we expect very few issues with security for this
Be a good time to rob
purpose.
a bank.
They too will be going to the beer board on Thursday for approval also. So your motion again here would probably need to be similar to the one you just had, a motion to approve fireworks and the beer garden at this event pending beer board approval. If anybody has any questions, I would tell you the vendor is half batch for the beer garden, which is local.
So am I looking at this, the beer garden, there's just a circle around the concession stand?
That's where they're going to sell it, but they're going to allow it to be in the quad, but you cannot go out the gates by field 2 and 3, field 4 and 5 are up the hill to field 12 and 13 with it. And it will not be sold until the semifinals of the tournament, I think around, correct me if I'm wrong, at 5 or 6 o'clock.
Yeah, tentatively, pool play will go till 4:30ish, maybe 5. And then the time they come together, do the semifinals at 6, finals at 7, and then the fireworks tentatively at 8 is the plan.
And I would say the reason they've added fireworks, they've also added a couple other aspects like a cornhole tournament and things like that. What they're wanting to do is to, after the teams get eliminated, there's 16 teams, they're wanting them and their families to be able to hang around. They're also adding in a concert with Rockland Road. They're going to play for an hour. So they're trying to get people to hang around for the end of the event also. It's kind of why they're doing all this extra stuff.
Okay, and let me make sure, the motion should involve the fireworks and the beer garden with the caveat of, the beer board again, right?
I believe so, yes, sir.
All righty. I will entertain a motion for that. All right, Mr. Pike, voice that motion.
Make a motion that we pass this event with the approval of the beer board. Is that right?
Very well put, very nicely put. I've got a first, do I have a second? Mr. Perry, second. Any more discussion on the matter? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Good enough, we're taken care of there. Okay, under new business and the project that I added to the agenda, RTP grant, Friends of Indian Lake Community Development Partners, is that Jeff? You wanna come over here and take the podium?
Mr. Chairman, I put, it's not in your packet, but I put on your desk in front of you a little extra handout. It's a resolution and then the staff report, 2 pages. This is a resolution that has been to the Public Works Committee already, and it's going to BOMA September 14th, but it also has to have your all's recommendation. Your motion would be to recommend that BOMA approve this resolution. All it is a resolution acknowledging that the Friends of Indian Lake is applying for a recreational trails grant through the state of Tennessee, and we are partnering with them. However, they're the ones dealing with all the application and all the funding for this. I think you got a map on your desk also of what the work would be and where it would be. The trails up there, I don't know if any of you have been around it, but the man hours and volunteer work that has been put in, they're getting really close to be really usable for the public. This grant probably, you're looking at probably a 2-year project on this, I would say, by the time you get it funded and then constructed. But it would be a big asset for us to be able to get a $200,000 grant to help the trail system up on the top of the Beatty Farm. Jeff is here, Miss Laura Lee Page is here with Community Development Partners. They're fabulous to work with, and I don't know if we could do this project without them, so I appreciate their help.
Yes, sir. Would you like to speak to that?
Thank you, Andy. I appreciate it, and we appreciate the opportunity to even pursue this grant. It's with Andy's help and CDP's help that we're able to do this, so we're excited about the opportunity and trying to fulfill our overall objective for the Friends of Indian Lake by helping develop this park and ultimately give it back to the community. So that's what we're here trying to do.
Very nice. So we're just looking for the Parks Board's approval of this, is that correct?
Make a motion to approve it.
Okay, Mr. Perry, a motion to approve.
Your motion needs to be that you recommend BOMA approve it.
Go ahead, Mr. Perry, say that again. sir.
I will say that I will recommend this per the board involved in approving this.
Very nice. Second. Mr. Bennett, more discussion?
Hey, Mr. Chairman, I've got a question. I'm seeing here the total cost, $200,000, and the construction costs were $170,000. Where's the other 30?
Design, permitting, those types of fees, soft costs.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Ma'am, did you need to say anything to this thing?
Just so you all know, we had a big community meeting here this afternoon at 5 o'clock. Prior to you all getting here, there was 3 people that showed up, and that was me and Laura Lee and Jeff and Jeremy and Mr. Frank. There was 5 people that showed. Oh, good. Well, we had some more. Some folks from Beach High School were there at the meeting too, and Jason was there. A huge meeting. It was huge.
You want to add any more to that?
A lot of input. A lot
I think
of input.
we might have
today.
all been here.
A lot of input. Everybody signed the sheet.
I was married 43 years. I'm not scared of that. Any more discussion? I've got a motion on the table and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? You're all over it. Thank you. 2D Sports 2021 Fall Tournament. Brandon?
And Brandon's joining us on the video too, I believe.
I'm not even going to try to say his last
We're
name.
breaking all kinds of new ground here.
Oh, man.
Can you guys hear me? You got me?
Oh, we thought
Okay,
you were
great.
with Bass Pro
Yeah,
Shops.
he was already yelling. Y'all make a lovely couple.
I appreciate the opportunity, guys. I'm actually based out of Louisiana, North Louisiana. We have hosted tournaments since 2014. We started at the high school level, at the showcase level, and have kind of branched into youth baseball in our state. We are coming up there on October 23rd and 24th to host a high school showcase event. We're going to be using Trevecca University, JP2, and hopefully Drakes Creek Park. I know you guys have hosted probably a bunch of showcase tournaments in the past in that area. We're very similar. We're a sanctioned body. We are licensed, insured, just similar to pastime tournaments, perfect game, prep baseball. We're along the same level as them. We've hosted events in Tennessee, specifically in Memphis for the past 4 years. And last year, we came into Nashville in early June, did an event in Clarksville. And then in late July, we did an event at Mickey Hyder's Park at Old Timers Park there. So our goal is to probably host 1 or 2 fall events a year in Nashville, and then branch into the summer and host another couple fall, summer events. And I've heard really good things about the park over there at Drakes Creek. I know dates are limited. This was an opportunity. I was texting and calling with Andy about the dates, and I'm appreciative of the opportunity. If there's any questions about our events, about our business, feel free, and I'll be happy to answer them.
Before we have questions, I'd like your input on this, Mr. Gilly.
I think this is great. They do a great job. They have a great reputation amongst the travel teams that play in their tournaments. And I think it just carries on with what we've started a few years ago with kind of getting in a regional and national spotlight by having one great facility. So,
Now then, questions of Brandon?
Has there been a discussion about their partnership with such as the Dugout Club?
they'll partner with the Hendersonville High School Dugout Club.
Was that your question?
That was my question, yeah.
Okay. Any more questions?
We're breaking up a bit, guys. Can you guys still hear me?
All right, I'll entertain a motion. Mr. Bennett first, Mr. White second, Mr. Golden third, Mr. White fourth, which is all right. I like that. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? I love it. Thank you, Brandon.
Brandon, I don't know if you can hear us, but it got approved. He froze up.
Boy, he is thrilled. Never seen anybody take it quite like that, have you?
Frozen.
Oh, get this off of TV, because.
That's not good.
Was he in shock? Okay, all right.
You guys hear me?
Ivy Brook Academy Preschool Field, Fall Field Day, Amanda
Yes,
Helm.
Brandon, that passed.
Oh, my goodness, Amanda, you are amazing.
Sorry, Amanda drew the short straw, had to take the kids to gymnastics, so I will fill in. I'm Lucas Helms, along with my wife Amanda. We're the co-presidents of the Parent-Teacher Academy, Parent-Teacher Association at Ivy Brook Academy. Ms. Priya Dave is the co-owner and principal of Ivy Brook Academy. It's a half-day preschool here in Hendersonville. So as part of our PTA, we try and do weekend events with the kids every 2 to 3 months. Normally, we do that at the preschool in the parking lot. But our fall event is going to be a field day, so we're asking to use at Memorial Park, the shelter, and lacrosse field next to it to do things like a 50-yard dash, a tennis ball throw. That way kids come home with grass stains instead of skin knees. 2 hours, we're anticipating about 150 or so kids and their parents, but not bringing out vendors, no alcohol, no food sales, just very simple, basically a play day in the grass with our students and their parents and their friends. Happy to answer any questions about the event or the school.
Questions?
There's no conflict with anything right now, Dallas?
No, we're good.
Perfect, thank you.
Shelters, how many shelters, I'm assuming?
It's just one shelter, and we've already blocked it off.
Okay.
Yep.
Motion, Mr. Golden, second, Mr. White. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? That's good. Thank you,
folks.
Amanda.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Hendersonville Fall Friendly Tournament, Anthony and Michael, all in one.
I'm Anthony, but we just basically want to have a fall softball tournament either at Drakes Creek or at Veterans. I can't even think of the name at the moment, sorry. We basically have Michael Rapers with Gallatin High School. I'm with Hendersonville High School. And we basically had a couple of middle school teams approach us about having a tournament. And so we want to go in with them. And any leftover money that we have basically will go to either Hendersonville High School or Gallatin High School. So.
Being from Hendersonville, I'd prefer Hendersonville, but it just saying, my wife was from Gallatin, I never got over that. All righty, questions?
It's saying on the document that it's for-profit. Is that not correct? It should be not-for-profit, right?
Sorry, say about.
Sorry. It's listed on the form that it's a for-profit event, but it's not profit, right?
It's non-profit, yes.
Okay.
They're hoping to make a profit.
Yeah, we're hoping, yes.
For a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Amend your
More of a
package.
charitable fundraiser. How
Yes.
about that?
This is also, Anthony is also the president of the local fast pitch league, and that's why it's going through Civitan. You'll see on there, it's Civitan sponsored also.
Right.
So he is actually the president, has been for years and years of the fast pitch league and done a great job with that. And this is sort of similar to, in the March, Hendersonville has a tournament in March, the Commando Classic, and this is sort of the fall, a very smaller version, but in the fall. Yeah.
Question? Motion to approve. Mr. Bennett, second. I think Mr. White. Mr. White, any more discussion?
The only thing I'd say is, I mean, looking at the calendar, it looks like this might be able to be played at Drakes Creek. The check boxes were for veterans. I think Anthony said either or.
Yeah, I'll address that. Initially, depending on the number of teams, just to control it a little better, we were looking at veterans for the 3 field. I think they would probably may not need more than 3.
Right.
Depending on signups. But then, since then, Beach has approached us about some stuff you'll hear about later, about you doing some upgrades to their field. So that would put them down to 2. So chances are the tournament will be played at Drakes Creek. Yes.
Any more questions? Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Well done, young man, well
Thank
done.
you.
Battle of Stones River, Rugby 7, Brian Silkwood. Hello, Brian.
Hey guys, I'm here on behalf of MTSU's men's collegiate team. They have held a tournament in Murfreesboro for many years. It's the Battle of Stones River Sevens. They have been out to our site, and they are actually prefer to come out to play on the full-size pitches, and so they want to bring their tournament here, away from the university. So I can tell you, there's been some interesting conversations in the university, but that's the decision they've made. So mostly, I'm here. I'm the kind of the go-to in between. They are gonna make a donation to the rugby club, to the nonprofit we have for hosting it. But they will pretty much run everything day to day. But I'll have one of my coaches will be out there for sure, just to help make sure everything goes smooth. I'm actually out of town that day, so but. There shouldn't be any major issues or anything really needed from you all, other than normally we have a tournament. I think Andy and Jeremy usually have somebody come by and just check the trash cans, usually throughout the day, but otherwise it should be pretty smooth. There's teams from Georgia and Kentucky, as far as what I've been told so far, and there may be a couple teams from North Carolina.
Okay. Questions?
One question, am I reading it correctly? There will be food truck, 2 troop food, 1, 2?
They're going to do something. We're still figuring that out. Meat Sweats is who we've generally had out there, and that's what I mentioned to them. I was going to talk with Andrea and them. They have also talked about since their team's not playing, that they may actually just put up they've got a big tent and just, bring a grill out and cook, but I need to figure out with Andrew and them how that works. So that's one of the follow-ups I have. But if we do have a food truck, Meat Sweats or something like that, already knows the process. They'll get that taken care of. Andrew, is there a separate process if the team does their own food? Kind of like concession, I guess? So I'll make sure to get that cleared up if that's the route they want to go.
Yeah, it'd be, we need insurance, and then they'd have to provide 7.5% back to the city for
Okay.
all their sales.
All right.
Okay. More questions? Entertain a motion. Mr. Pike made the motion. Mr. Bowler, second. Any more discussion?
Go Blue Raiders.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Brian, thank you for creating a space out there that falls right in line with the park system and creating the desire for people all over the country to want to come play there like they do everything else we have going on. Thank you.
Yeah, I've got another one I'm working on in the spring that's gonna be, it'll be much larger. Like we're actually trying to figure out having night games out there, and it's a 2-day, they're actually gonna make it a 3-day event, Friday night, Saturday, and all day Sunday. And they're talking about probably close to 1,500 people, like 20-some teams out there, and it'd be like 30 per team. So I'm working on that for April, for being out there, so, yep.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Good job, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Excellent.
I'm still not sure you guys have rules, but that's okay. Beach High School softball field V3 renovation, Christy Utley and Troy Bishop. Both of you here. It's good.
Hey, I'm Christy Utley. I'm the athletic director at Beach High School. And Beach has finally made the decision after many years that we're landlocked. There's no room for a softball field. We have been at Beach, we've been at Drakes Creek for softball. I would say I started coaching in '95, and we were down there, and Dave Lamar, Keith Bruce, Andy Gilly. All the years I was coaching, I never was interested in building a field at Beach High School because of the way we were treated at Drakes Creek. We were treated very well. The fields were always pristine, looked nice. So my thought was, why would I build one when I know it's not going to be possible to get one on our campus? So that's where we are, and we've decided Field 3, we'd like to do some major renovations, okay? Because the Hendersonville baseball, Hendersonville softball, it looks so nice. So we want our girls to have that advantage of having a field that looks that nice also. So with being the athletic director, I'm taking care of the finances and all the things that need to be done behind the scenes. I'm very fortunate that Troy Bishop is one of my parents and head of the beach softball club. He's going to kind of go through the renovations that we're doing, what needs to be approved or not approved, and those type of things. And that's kind of what we're here for today.
Give you all a minute to glance over the paperwork here. And
While Troy, before you speak, just, if you don't mind, real quick, a lot of these things can be done without the Parks Board approval, just staff approval. There's a couple of things that talk about having sponsorship or advertisements. So if you just make sure, Troy, you highlight that stuff.
Yes, sir.
That's really the stuff that you all have to approve. And I'll compliment Coach Utley and Troy. They've done a great job in putting all this together. And I'm really excited about people being able to drive down the road and see another nice stadium-like complex in our park. I think it's going to be great. So thank you. Go ahead, Troy.
Certainly.
question? Oh, go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen on the board, first of all, thank y'all very much for the opportunity to be before you. As you kind of flip through the slides that you see, first of all, I just kind of want to clarify a few things. The proposed outfield and sideline fencing is really a screen that is much like you see at any construction site, like the new high school going up here. This would be something that would be overlaid over the existing fence. At the end of the season, it would be taken down and secured. We'd actually looked at doing a metal fence, much like Field 5, but honest to goodness, guys, with the price of metal these days, is astronomical. So that what you see right there is really just a temporary thing that would be put up beginning of season and taken down. The next one is proposed scoreboard. It is by Fair Play, so it once again ties in with the existing scoreboards through your maintenance contracts and things like that. One thing I do want to pull out that Mr. Gilley asked me to talk about was company advertisement at the top. This scoreboard happens to be 20 foot long, so we'd actually have a sponsored by type of sign, and it's 20 foot long, that's 3 foot tall, that would go across that. The supports and everything like that are being covered through by volunteer fence. The next slide you see is a backstop. Currently, there is about an 8-inch curb that runs between the dugout to the dugout along that back with a fence. We would actually demo that fence, put up a CMU brick block concrete masonry unit, approximately 2 foot. We would not have to touch the existing footer because it's not going to be that much weight on it, and that footer is plenty strong, so there's no changing of the footprint of the existing Field 3. And then we would turn around and run nets around it, and that's backstop padding that would go on the inside, once again making it look more like a little bit of a home field advantage. The proposed dugouts, first of all, one oddity, due to the fact that veterans, the home team dugout typically is on third base side, as you're aware. Due to the fact that veterans, if you look out, you're looking straight into the sun in the afternoon. We actually want to turn around and do it on the first base side. The actual dugout would not change the footprint of the dugouts that we have there. However, we would turn around and like to run CMU block around it, a split face block. We can obviously get that approved, that block approved ahead of time through either this board or through zoning, whichever one deems necessary, build a sample panel if needed. With that, we would do a sponsored by sign, and we're doing roughly an 8x16 engraved stone that would be cast and laid into that stone, much like you see at your county buildings, erected by or such and such, something along those lines. So nothing with neon lights or anything like that. The other thing we'd like to do on the first base side is, as you see, to add approximately 15 by 10 storage. This does a couple of things to benefit both sides of the table here. Number one, it allows the team to actually be able to keep their equipment they need in practice, and which also frees up the room they're currently storing things in. So that makes life better for y'all, makes life better for the team as well. We've got a pair of 3.0 7.0 doors, much like those double doors you see right out there, except obviously they would be metal exterior doors, but that size to allow access and things like that. Proposed visitor dugout, no change there. Foul poles, once again, we would just like to erect some 6 or 8 inch steel tubes up, paint them orange, and run a sponsor down the side of those. Pending your question, this concludes my brief.
First, I'd like to say that could be the best presentation that we've heard since I've been on the board. So
Well, thank you, sir.
for
Appreciate
that.
it.
I thank you for that. I couldn't.
Are you talking about mine?
I mean,
Ms. Wise, you want to answer that?
I mean, I've made a bunch of presentations.
I'm sure you did quite well.
Not as
You're
good as
the,
y'all.
you're the face of the project. Any questions? Mr. Coleman?
Yeah, Andy, is there any cost to the city on this? Is this mostly being funded directly through
So
gauge
what
sponsorships?
what you're looking at is a pretty good size, upper in the thousands that they're putting into that field. What we have done as a staff and in working with the Hendersonville Civitan Club, we've worked with beach softball, and we've committed to redoing the playing surface, which is probably $10,000 or $11,000 renovation that we're going to split with the Hendersonville Civitan Club. They voted as a board to do that. That benefits us as a league to get that playing as a city league and as a Civitan club. Gives them a good playing surface too, but it gets it gets that part of their field to where we can use it when it rains more often also for our own purposes. So about 5.5 to 5.5 going in with the Civitan Club to go along with their thousands of dollars of renovations here also.
Any more questions?
The storage building,
Yes,
is
sir.
it, I think that's the only really new piece that you're adding, although putting really nice upgrade to it all. Is that, do we know, is that in the floodplain?
The whole park is in the floodplain.
Understand, well,
Yeah.
I guess I should have said it's out of the floodway.
Floodway or floodplain, I'd have to look at the FEMA map to tell you exactly. But there is a chance that water will get in any part of any building right there in that spot, including the concession stand. So that's something to keep in mind. And they already store equipment in the concession stand down there also. So
And the interior of that building, sir, will be a concrete slab with CMU around the exterior, so there's no soft finishes, i.e. drywall, things like that, that absorb moisture. But yes, sir, that's obviously a consideration. But on top of that, okay, I'm a general contractor. I don't see the need for a permit off of this, so any floodplain issues really wouldn't tip a hat with building codes.
Mr. Frank? No? I make you mad? Sorry. Yes, sir, Mr. Bennett.
The sponsorship aspect of it, the foul poles, is that something we do now, or is this brand new for our city?
yeah, both of these things would be new. I could see the foul poles. I could see other groups asking to do the foul poles in the future. Maybe even on the scoreboard in some of the stadium fields also. What they proposed falls in line with the sponsorship package that you all passed a few years ago. The only thing I would ask Troy or Coach Utley is, do you know the length of time that those scoreboard and foul pole sponsors are committing to, or is it every year? The scoreboard probably not going to change, but the foul poles could change.
The scoreboard was a 10-year deal because they paid for the total price of the scoreboard.
That's all we need to know.
The foul poles are yearly.
Yearly on the foul poles and 10 years on the scoreboard. That's a good answer. So that for sure falls in line with the
Okay.
sponsorship program.
Any more questions?
The difference that I see and what goes on in other places is they're going to put that ad on the scoreboard and the foul poles, and that's going to be up year round. In other places, we require things to come off if you don't have back-to-back home games or things like that. So I could see that. I could see other groups asking to do something similar during their season. Honestly, I'm just trying to. Mr. Silkwood's sitting out there right now. I'm sure when he puts up a scoreboard, he's going to want a sponsor on it.
And
Yep. Yep.
honestly, that sponsorship signage and this situation and what it might lead to with others, I mean, they're asking for approval to provide a pretty substantial improvement to our park.
Yes.
And putting a lot of work and time and effort, and I'm familiar with Troy, and they've got a good general contractor there. It's gonna take care of it, and it's gonna look nice. And, you know, if it leads to other people being able to improve their areas, I'm all for it.
And plus, you know, it would keep rates for participants lower. It's a win-win, it seems.
Do you have a question, Mr. Bennett?
No, I think this is a fantastic project, and I think you need to get your own place for your team. And I'll be more than happy to go ahead and motion for approval for this project.
A motion, Mr. Pike, second. A general contractor and nice lady, I might add, so.
Oh, by the way, Mr. Chairman, she was Coach of the Year this year, by the way. Okay.
I've got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
General
Chairman.
contractor and nice lady.
Don't let him off the hook.
No,
Hang on to it, don't let him off the hook.
I've already been beat to death on this kind of thing once this year, so just you. Shut up. Is that what you said? Okay, that's good. Discussion of parks resident and non-resident fees. Mr. Gilly?
Yes, sir. On page 33, 34 of your packet is some emails that kind of made some suggestions. Where this is coming from is that there's been some members of the BOMA the last couple of years that have asked us to look at fees and look at increasing some things. In the Parks Master Plan, that was a suggestion also. It's kind of odd, you know, it was suggested in the Parks Master Plan that our fees may be a little low, but then on the flip side, there's a survey that says residents don't want to pay for services. So we're trying to figure out how to hit the middle, so to speak. What you have on page, let's see here, page 34 at the bottom. This was discussed in the Public Works Committee. The reason why I brought it to you tonight is because the Board of Mayor and Aldermen is about to approve our parks policies as a whole. I would like to get this language included in the policies all at once rather than having to go back. By you all recommending, you all have the authority to recommend fees. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. The suggestion from the mayor is on the bottom of page 34. The key point to that is it gives leagues time to prepare. $5 increase on residents starting in January 2022, and $5 increase non-residents January 22, and another 5 on non-residents in January 2023. That would get us to 15 and 25 by 2023. It's before my time, the last time the fees were increased. I think it was 5 and 10, and then it went up to 10 and 15. And it's kind of like, you know, I made the comment in the Public Works meeting. I can't tell you another fee inside City Hall that probably hadn't increased in the last 5 or 6 years. Mm-hmm. So it could be time to do that. We obviously know that as a staff for our leagues themselves, we will probably have to pass that through, an increase in some of our fees. We feel like the leagues will probably pass that through by increasing participant fees. But maybe they won't. Some may not. Some may feel comfortable with it. It is on one person, it's not a substantial amount. When you look at a league as a whole, writing a check for the 1,000 kids that are in their league, it can be a substantial amount, a little bit. So it's up to you all. These are the recommendations from elected officials and from the staff if we were to do this, where we would go. So I guess you all can take it from here.
I'll give you all just another minute to look it over before I ask for questions.
So I understand that obviously it would seem that what we've learned is that these might be low, but I guess my question that I want to put out to people is now, why now do this, given how financially rocky the last year, 2 years has been, and maybe the uncertainty moving forward for some of these leagues that may or may not be able to have a full season. Again, we're optimistic, but does this place an undue burden on these organizations given how tough it's been the last year? I don't disagree that we should do this. The question I have is more timing. That's all.
You're asking me that question? Why is it being brought forward?
No. I'm sorry. Ned.
Oh, no.
No, I mean, I'm asking the board. I'm asking for
okay.
input from the board.
And do you have a rebuttal to that, Mr. Gilly?
No, I don't want to. I wouldn't rebut it, but I would just, from our point of view, I would say that we've been asked. I don't want to say we've been pressured, but we've been asked for the last couple of years to look at this, because, and the rationale on the other end is I go and I say that things are costing more, we need more money, and the elected officials would say, well, here's a way you can get money. So that's kind of why, I guess, at this point.
And I'll have to say as well, over several of the comments made tonight, especially by the nice lady, that she kind of wondered about making their own field because ours were so good. I think the way that we keep our parks up and the way we do things, I believe, I don't have a vote on this particular one, but I would see the change happening because of the return that the people are getting, in my opinion. So that's my thought anyway.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
as a parent that has kids in the parks already, that's not a huge increase for fees. It's just not. If it was $10, $15, $20 per person, per child, I think it would be, but this is not an absorbent amount of increase.
I agree with you 100%. I think you've had enough time to look. Have I got a motion to approve? Did you approve that, Mr.?
No.
Okay.
Darren's got a question.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Ask a question.
Mr. Gilly, is there any other discussion, questions, or have you fielded any other information about also a proportionate increase in events, tournaments, anything like that? You know, our parks system is rightfully so welcoming groups from all over the place. And is there any push on that side to increase that proportionately as well?
I have not felt that. I've felt like we're kind of in the right spot on the events side of things due to the fact that we have people coming, but we also have established that they've got to partner with the local groups who invest right back into the park. I do think probably as a staff, every 3 to 5 years, we should look at all of the fees, probably. You know, I think we just, a year or two ago, increased tennis and shelter fees. Tournament fees, we actually decreased 4 or 5 years ago in some ways, but basically that was to try to figure out a way to get more money spent directly in the park. I could see in a year or two maybe looking at those other fees that we're not necessarily addressing.
I could just anticipate any public pushback is, you know, I live in this area and I just want to play basketball. I just want to play soccer. I just want to play, you know, at the recreational level. But then you've got all these high profile people coming in from all over the place and there's not a burden on them. So I just wanted to vocalize that among the group here. I'm in no way opposed to it. In fact, I'll go ahead, if it's appropriate, make a motion to recommend the approval on the bottom of page 34. I think that's the best, in my opinion, the best solution for achieving the ultimate goal over the longest amount of time. Take in what Mr. Golden said, but also give leagues an opportunity to adjust.
Have a motion second. Mr. White? Okay, gotcha. The reason I'm having trouble, this is not showing up tonight, so I can't see your lights out there, so it messed up a little bit. Before I ask, haven't we done like comps on different cities on this already, sir?
And yes, sir, and that was part of the master plan and what they looked at, and we're I'd say average to below in what some cities charge.
That's what I thought.
You know, you can use Goodlettsville as an example right beside us. They're at, I think, $20
and 40.
$20 for a resident and $40 for a non-resident. But what you don't see in Goodlettsville is the groups like maybe one of our soccer clubs that plays in both places being willing to invest back in specific projects in the park, facility upgrades, because they feel like they're already paying a hefty amount per player to go there. So I think it's a delicate balance, in my opinion, what we're doing here.
I think you're right. And I think this is as delicate as it can be because, I'll say it one more time, we haven't done much in a while. So I don't think this looks like we're pushing it on somebody. I think it looks like we're trying to keep up and at least maintain our quality of our park. So, all righty, I've got a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Who was the second?
Mr. White. Mr. White.
Thank you.
Any more discussion?
You know, the one thing I would say is I agree with Mr. Bennett. This doesn't appear to be, if you take it to the individual level, a substantial increase. It's very minor, and you go back again to the looking at what you get from the facilities. And the tournaments and the special events, all the other events, I think we're doing very well with those, because those are a huge benefit to the city as a whole. Because when those come in here, they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in our hotels and our restaurants, and buying gas and everything else that they have to have, and the Gatorades at Kroger and all of that. That's a huge benefit to the city. So I don't think either one of those are really out of line, even with this increase at all.
We've created a wonderful monster here. And I'm sure that the surrounding areas are very, especially Goodlettsville and places like that, are real proud of us, because at least from my indication, we don't, when we have the big tournaments, we don't have enough spots for them anyway. So yeah, I like that.
You know, one other thing that just hit me as you were talking is each league, including the department, has a process where if the fee is an undue burden on a family, they can address that individually with every league we have and the park staff. So there's avenues to be able to do that.
I understand a lot of the leagues do that as well. You're right. Any more comments? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed?
I'd like to show mine as opposed, please.
Say that again, Mr. Golden.
No, I like the opposed. The opposed.
You opposed? Okay. Is that noted, Mr. Gilly? Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Gilly. Okay, renewal of core lease. Mr. Gilly?
Yes, sir. Page 35 of your packet. Our lease on all our park properties, which include Mallard Point, Sanders Ferry, Drakes Creek, Memorial Park, is set to expire in 2026. It doesn't seem like it's near, but it is near us. And we're learning that several grants that we need to apply for that include facilities on core property want our lease to be longer than 5 years. So we are asking the Corps to renew our lease for the next 50 to 2076. That will be going before BOMA. This, as it just says in your packet on page 35, we would just ask that the Parks Board make a recommendation to BOMA that the city renew their lease with the Corps of Engineers for all properties owned by the Corps until 2076.
Sir?
I'll make the motion that we recommend this to BOMA, to renew the lease on all parks properties for the year to 2076.
That was well put, Mr. Pike. I'm very pleased with that. Second, Mr. Perry, it was so good, Mr. Perry seconded that.
Thank you, Mr. Perry.
Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, Mr. Gilly, for your information, it certainly doesn't make me happy to see discipline reports down there, but any questions for your information list of our packets? Ms. Wise does a wonderful job with that anyway, except for the discipline report. All right, staff reports. Recreation Coordinator, Ms. Hamlin. The world-famous Ms. Hamlin.
Okay, thank you. I'm presently getting ready for the preschool track meet. Registration is open now, and it runs from now until October 1st. This is for 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. They will participate in the 25-yard dash, the tennis ball throw, and the hurdles. Something new that we're going to try to add this year is we're going to offer a special needs division. So children with special needs can register for this. Their age is determined just like the other ones as of October 31st of 2021. The event is on October 17th at Drakes Creek Football Field. Due to the COVID issues last year, we changed how we did it, and all the parents were a lot happy with us doing like all the 3-year-olds at 1 o'clock, all the 4-year-olds at 2 o'clock, and the 5-year-olds at 3 o'clock. Each age group does have a limitation of participants, so they need to get on and get signed as early as possible. They can go to our website. If they are interested in the special needs, they need to click on the Adaptive Recreation tab and go to the preschool track meet there to register for the new division. I'm working on Trick or Treat at Drakes Creek with Andrea, just there really for her support to see what I can do to help her out. That is on October 28th. And then we'll begin looking at Raptors basketball. We will prepare for the registration to start on November 29th and run through January 5th. One thing I have been asked by parents is could we continue to do the winter games that we did this past year and still offer basketball? And I'm not really sure how that will look, so I have to put some thought into that and see where we go from there. And that's pretty much it. Any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Hamlin.
Thank you very much.
We are forever proud of you, ma'am. Well, I've seen what you do, especially with special needs. Your heart is amazing, so I thank you for that. Recreation Coordinator, Mr. Evans, in the snappy-looking shoes.
These are the Win Like 82 Jordan 11s that Michael Jordan wore back in the day. A couple updates are, that's right. Yeah, I'm a sneakerhead. It is what it is. Our men's softball league ended. Sumner Roofing won. Our men's basketball league ended last Wednesday. A team called the Wiseman, Jacob Witt, he's been around the area for a while. Their team won, which is great. We had 10 summer leagues, or 10 summer teams. One thing I'll adjust next year is the time, because probably the top 2 best teams had a lot of college guys go back to school, so, but hey, they didn't make it to the tournament, so happens. Fall baseball is going on right now. We've got about 500 either participants going on. It has been a logistical maze. Not nightmare. I'm not trying to say that, but we do have 3 teams currently closed or shut down until after Labor Day because of COVID, coaches and players. You know, one thing that's really prevalent right now is that a lot of the kids are getting it compared to last fall when we had the league. So they've been great to help me with that, and we're dealing with that. And then also just tons of rain. I mean, we've had 3 rain out days, 2 Saturdays included in that. So it's about 60 games worth of rainouts trying to make up. So we'll probably be playing until Christmas, but, you know, we'll have a little turnaround on Christmas. Kickball is going on Friday nights. We got 8 teams, all veterans, so that's been going good. Basketball, our winter basketball leagues, high school and adult leagues, registration starts September 7th, so next Tuesday, and it'll go to October 11th. Yeah, if you're out there, 10th grade to 12th grade is you can sign up as an individual. We also have the open division where teams can sign up as themselves like it was a team, which last year we had 20 teams in, so hopefully that builds off of that. And then our men's league as well. And then one additional thing, the Aaron O'Pree Moms and Mimosas workout event is going to be at CrossFit Hendersonville on October 9th. It is $25, and there's a limited space, not because of COVID, but only because there's only so much people we can get in that space. So if you don't know who she is, she's a celebrity personal trainer. She's a really sought-after personal trainer. She did Carrie Underwood for a long time. So anyway, we got them coming out. Cafe 393 is going to host the Mimosa Bar. So it's funny. I came up with this event, like one of my first events I came up with in 2019 after I got hired, and then COVID last year. And then the Titans just decided to do a Moms and Mimosas event with Aaron O'Pree 2 months ago. So they used the same logo that I designed. So really cool. But I am a Titans fan, so, you know, whatever. But yeah, that's it. I know it's a lot, but I've got like 6 different leagues and stuff going on right now. And then I'm working with them on any special events. We are also looking at an idea, which we'll present to you next month, about pickleball and how we could do it at our tennis courts and not mess up the tennis courts. There is a way. So we are trying logistically to figure that out. So anybody out there, I know probably if you watch Channel 3, you like pickleball. So we'll be coming back.
Questions? Thank you, Ms. Devon. Special Events Program Supervisor, Ms. Wise.
I don't know if I can follow up to that, but I'll try. So this month we started off with the Homebound Meals motorcycle ride. From what I heard, they had a great event. They had about 150 bikers. They were expecting about 200, so hopefully next year they can meet their goal. That same day was also Sumner Fest. It was another great night celebrating our county, and the chamber did a great job and had a tremendous attendance. And then Big Bubba's Bash, despite the weather, everyone seemed to have a good time, and props to those who played and sticking it out in the rain. There's no way I would do that. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was over $5,000 that was raised for Sumner County. Is that right? 5,000? Okay. And then right after that was the USA softball tournament. They had about, I think, 16 teams from all over the country, I believe. And then the annual Coleman cross-country meet fundraiser was this past Saturday, and they had about 1,400 people in the park for that. And then September is going to be even busier. We've got more cross-country meets. We've got the Spencer Bristol tournament that you heard about tonight, along with the Bass Pro Fishing Tournament. Putting for a Purpose is coming back on Friday, September 17th at Country Hills Golf Course. We've got the Theater on the Lake again. Will be the weekend of September 17th. And if anybody is interested in attending, we do have tickets in our office. And they are going to be performing Peter in the Starcatcher. The James Best Foundation Fishing Tournament will be on Sunday, September 12th. All proceeds raised will be going towards the James Best Foundation, and this will be the first year for it, and they are expecting about 50 boats. We've got a USTA tennis meet on September 18th. PGF and GMB will be having another tournament this month. The Hendersonville Half Marathon is going to be on September 18th. United Way is having a movie in the park on September 25th to kick off their annual fundraiser this year. And there will be food trucks there for everyone to enjoy. Tennessee United will be having its annual fall tournament the weekend of September 25th. And then to end the month, Buffalo Wild Wings is coming back again this year for its annual kickball tournament on September 29th. And just a couple of little things. The parking pallet and trick-or-treat registration opened up today. And then we are starting to recruit for gym supervisors. So if you know of anyone wanting to work for me, send them my way. I would appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Wise. Questions? Parks Maintenance Superintendent, not official. Jeremy Granat, officially there. I like that.
Official. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here. As you can tell from listening to Andrea, maintenance is busy too. Most of everything she talked about, we play a part in also. So I like to come after her because it reminds me of all the things we do. Mowing's in full swing, of course. Athletic fields are being cut 2 to 3 times per week. And sometimes that's still not enough, and we're blowing them off when we get done. So that's interesting. We've had some issues with army worms this year on our athletic surfaces. It started off at soccer, and it has moved on to some of the ball fields on DC 5. We found some on Friday. One interesting fact about that is Friday we had them there to spray them out, and I was telling Andy a little bit ago, already today you could tell the difference that it recovered already. So I thought that was surprising, 72-hour turnaround, and you could already tell a difference in the grass greening up where they had been sprayed out. So seems like they're repairing quickly when we're finding them and we're spraying them out. We had a big issue at soccer, and if you didn't know where it was, you wouldn't be able to tell now what that problem was. And I can tell you, I was on a Zoom call on Friday with park maintenance supervisors and superintendents in Middle Tennessee, and it was one of the first things that came up in the conversation. And it looks like from what everybody's seeing, they actually came from some golf courses. It came from some sod and from golf courses, and it's came over to the athletic field arena somewhat. So just an interesting thing that in my time we've never dealt with before. So something new. Starting to look at some winter projects for this winter. I know one of the things that we want to do is we'd like to do a renovation on the DC 12 and 13 restrooms. We're looking at putting some HVAC in there. Those restrooms have never had that. So I think that'll be a good upgrade. We're looking at maybe doing some different things with the stall dividers in there. So I think that'll be a good project for this winter. Just like Andrea, we're still recruiting for part-time. Anybody interested, contact me at 615-756-7933. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you, sir. Assistant Director, Mr. Long.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Soccer is underway. Both middle school, Tennessee United, and rec have all started their seasons. Rec soccer will have their first game day this coming Saturday. They got about 117 teams or so this fall, which is up from the spring. The new fall adult league will also start this Wednesday, pending weather, and they have 14 teams, which is pretty good for the first fall season. It's a little down from what we had in the summer, but still pretty good for the first year. And then, as Andrea mentioned, Tennessee United's tournament's coming up later in the month of September, so we're in the planning stages for that. Tackle football is they started games this past weekend. They'll have their first games here at Drakes Creek this coming Saturday, and they have 8 teams in our league here. And then flag football is wrapping up their fall registrations, and then they'll start games mid-September. Rugby's underway. They'll have their first home games next Saturday. And then lacrosse will begin their off-season training later this month as well. So pretty busy. And then from here we'll begin planning for winter basketball season. And I just want to thank Summit County Schools and all of our principals and athletic directors for all they do to help us have that program. So thank you.
Question? Thank you, Mr. Long. Assistant Director, Mr. Bruce.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Fast Pitch League is practicing right now. They are going to start games on Tuesday after Labor Day and go to the end of October. Senior men are ongoing. They have had a couple of COVID-issued nights. They've had to shut down for a few nights due to that, but they are still playing. Hope to finish by Christmas is the plan, with a little luck. Hockey's ongoing, still going with that part of it. The new rinks, we meet out there every 2 weeks at the new rinks, and that is going to be fantastic when that's done. If you haven't been out there, go to drive by, you can see the footings or the ribbon around the rinks. Again, hopefully by the first part of December, we've got a tournament, or middle of December, but it's going to be amazing, I think, once that gets up and running. The Full Count started their fall league a couple weeks ago. That's Monday night and Tuesday nights on a couple of fields. Going strong. Of course, they got rained out tonight. The other part of that organization, the Rhythm, made it to the finals. They won 2 playoff series and then lost in the finals. So a great first year for them. Regular season South champs, and then made it to the finals of the tournament. Civitan is still having open team practices ongoing throughout the fall. Thing on the golf course, I sit on the golf course commission. I don't vote on that, but they're going to host the district and regions this year in the golf. So that's another star for them. They're doing quite well financially. It's run by a management group, but the city owns it. So, of course, with the COVID stuff, everybody thought it would go down, but actually they have very much benefited from that the last 2 years. And then the September 11th Bristol tournament, we've got that set up with the police department and the fire department. Mr. Lee has done a lot of work on that, and Jamie and Stephen. So if you can come out that day, there's an auction for that part of it. First opening ceremonies is at 10:30, and then the first pitch is 11. Thank you, sir.
Questions? I don't want to disappoint you, Mr. Bruce, but I have given up kickball. I was approached by the rugby league, and they've asked me to work with them on a professional basis. As a matter of fact, I'll be coaching.
So should we wait? Should we wait the 5 years before you're nominated for the Wall of Fame on the kickball?
Parks Director, Mr. Gilly.
Just to follow up a little further on September 11th, let everybody know that morning at 9 o'clock, at Memorial Park, the fire department will have their annual 9/11 ceremony, this being the 20th year of anniversary of 9/11. And then we got the Bass Pro Shops tournament at Sanders Ferry, huge event there. And we got the Bristol tournament at Drakes Creek. So I don't know how we'll do it, but we'll take care of everything. But September 11th, big day all across the city and the parks. Just want to thank our staff, maintenance and office staff. They have kept leagues going. They've kept the park going. This has been, every day is an adventure. One phone call is changing every day, one email. We've dealt with some things that probably have never been dealt with before, and not just in the COVID area either. And they've handled it all in stride, and I appreciate that. And then tonight, I want to make sure we thank Jason and the IT department back there. For us to be able to have people from Miami and Louisiana remote in and not have to fly here and spend money traveling here, and us to be able to talk to them, that's something, before COVID, we would have never thought about doing that. We just said, get on a plane and get here. So thank you, Jason, for doing that. And the last thing I wanted to do was just make sure we all keep the Kemp family in our prayers. Mr. Neal and on the loss of Miss Pam and Penny, her sister. That's an important family to the history of our Parks Department and our city. And to lose Miss Pam is a loss. And I want to make sure we keep Neil in our prayers and the whole family. That's all I got.
Questions? Round table, Mr. White, Mr. Golden, Mr. Frank, Mr. Bennett.
I'll be the one that talks. I just want to say, give a lot of credit to Scott Wyteka and the beach cross country. That Coleman Midget invitational they had, guys, there were teams from all over Middle Tennessee. Well done, and it honors a young man who lost his life a couple of years ago, and I just want to tell them great job.
Mr. Pike.
I just want to kind of echo what Andy said about him and the whole staff, including the people down at the maintenance staff. You make our job really easy up here with all the homework that y'all do on the back end. So I just want to say that.
Mr. Bowler? Mr. Perry? I was just thinking while we were sitting here, isn't it nice to have all these new business bullets here? Show and the quantity and the quality of what we do is amazing. And I still hear, Pike's already said it. The people come to this town because of the lake, and they discover the park, and they discover that the park is probably just as good or better than the lake, considering kids that they got. And the kids are coming up, and we're giving them a place to grow, and that's what I like about it. So, all righty, I will take a motion to adjourn. Mr. Pike, second. Mr. Perry. Discussion, no. All in favor say aye. All opposed, out of here.